You go for a moment with the idea of elevating humor. You talk about the idea that we can transform our experiences of youth where we're perhaps self-conscious in a way that is inhibiting our joy. That later on in life we can find a great amount of humor in these things. And you talk about perhaps what had been one of the most horrifying experiences of your youth becoming one of the most humorous experiences that you can reflect on. What was that?
That was an infamous night, which is actually one of my favorite aspects of the book, is how that incident is referred to in the index. I had nothing to do with the index. I won't ruin it. I'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah.
But what happened was I was, I don't know, late teens, early 20s. I was living at home. My younger brother was a teen. And he and my mother got into a big fight over, we had a kosher home, and he put the milchik, the dairy dish, into the meat sink, and she was screaming at him, and he was screaming at her, and they got so heated that he did what I guess he figured every American son of immigrants does. He mooned her. He turned around and he mooned her, and she freaked out, and she called the police.
Which is great. That's precisely kind of like that classic Jewish mother example.
That's exactly.
How do you solve a problem by elevating it, right?
And she screamed into the phone so loudly that they didn't just send 2 cops, they sent 4 cops on our domestic disturbance call. And I was just standing sort of dumb in many different ways, watching it all transpire in the kitchen. And the cop asked my mother, well, why did she call them? And she couldn't quite get the story out, and she just started off with, well, he put the milchik dish in the fleishik sink, and the cops looked like they stepped out of the Twilight Zone. And finally the boss cop, he said, lady, you can't call the cops because someone put the wrong dish in the sink. And she was flabbergasted. They're yelling at me? And she screamed, but he showed me the tuchus. You're yelling at me? Needless to say, they left. I could hear them laughing all the way to the car. I was utterly humiliated. It was literally the most humiliating moment of my life at that time. My children have given me more humiliating moments since then. But at that time, and one day years later, I had repressed this story. I was talking to someone who also had grown up in an Orthodox environment. And I just found myself telling the story, even though in the back of my head I was saying, why are you telling this story? You're going to make yourself look so bad. And he just started laughing so hard. And I realized, this is a funny story. And I've never seen it any other way ever since. I've written about the story, and the way it's referred to in the index is as a Unusual Debacle. And I thought, I bet there's no other book by Oxford University Press that has Unusual Debacle in its index. So I took great pride.